Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See detail.
This week's news roundup is fire, because today on CityCast Las Vegas, I'm with Andrew Corrali, founder of TheList.Vegas, and my co-host David Figler, and we're talking about the Frontier flight that was actually on fire, the fire Chippendale dancers who want a fire union contract, and that lit Coldplay video that's an ode to downtown LV. It's Friday, October 11th. I'm Sarah Lohman, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. Hey, new listeners! You might be new and you might be listening. We're so happy to have you. This is a great episode to start on. Oh, and you know what? We're going to kick off with a hot headline. I feel like you two could probably guess what it is. What's the most fire thing that happened this week?
The boom boom on the strip.
The Troplosion.
That's it. Boom boom also means a poo, David.
Well, Tropicana has been taking a boom boom for a while now.
Ooh, yikes. So yeah, the Trop dropped. It was imploded early morning Wednesday. Did either of you go?
No.
Andrew?
Like a true lazy person, I watched it on video. But still, it was amazing. And nowadays with, ubiquitous social media, you can watch it from every angle with every commentary, every detail. So I felt like I lived it.
Was it amazing, in your opinion?
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. And, they really pulled out all the stops, put on a true Vegas spectacle. My one big takeaway is wow, drones nowadays, greater sign than fireworks, right? And I just really love how they're incorporating those with the, the sort of the aerial light acrobatics and all that kind of stuff. So the implosion itself almost feels kind of like an afterthought nowadays with all the droney fireworky goodness in the air. And so it's always fun. And it's always nice to know that we all carry a piece of Vegas history deep in our lungs.
Oh, my God. Sarah, did you watch it?
Again, I saw it on social media. Actually, I was at a doctor's appointment the next morning, so I saw it a million times on the TV in the waiting room. But I did get up at 6 a.m., and it was really dusty, but I'd forgotten what happened, so I just assumed it was our normal dust situation,
Yeah. I'm never going to understand the inordinate amount of money that's spent on fireworks. I would love for one of these implosions to be like, hello, public. In lieu of spending $10 million on fireworks today, we're going to provide social services for this population of people, etc.
And here's a building exploding. So, you still get something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's okay to, enjoy life every once in a while, Figler.
Sure, however, priorities. That said, It's just a hot headline.
It's just a hot headline. Drones over fireworks. Andrew, it's a good thing you didn't go because those drones actually stole everybody's IDs and social security numbers.
There you go. I knew it.
Wow, there you go.
Yep. Rob Cacciarese did go, and he said it felt like it wasn't for Las Vegas. Interestingly, he said it was kind of like a spectacle for the rest of the world and social media and TV, like it was made to be filmed. And it replayed, by the way, primetime on Wednesday night, too. But one of the local networks did call it our official transition into America's sports city. So we are becoming a center for sports tourism and sports betting, yeah?
Marketing over substance. Welcome to Vegas.
That's us, baby. Don't worry. We're going to
go.
get sweetly nostalgic later in this episode about our beautiful city. But first,
yay.
Let's talk about, David, hilariously, you sent this to me on Instagram because I remarked how often I fly Frontier.
It's your
and
favorite.
A day later, a fiery fireball made an emergency landing at Harry Reid. Can you tell us more?
Yeah, well, typically when there's stories coming out of airplanes and airport in Las Vegas, it's someone behaving badly on a plane, someone either anticipating the party of our city a little too hard or being very obstinate over some sort of political stance with
those Friday flights into Vegas are rough.
They can be, but in this particular case, there was a serious hold your breath moment. A trail of flames seen shooting from underneath that Frontier Airlines flight as it landed hard as it was described, on a runway
Yeah.
at Harry Reid International. I guess the moments before were pretty hectic for everyone. There are reports that smoke was filling the cockpit, that the crew was unable to communicate with the flight control folks,
Horrifying.
Yikes.
and that it was dropping like a really bad amusement ride, and people were indeed freaking out. And when it hit hard, they felt it through the core of their bodies. And while they report no injuries, I can't imagine that there will not be some manner of litigation to compensate the folks for the injuries that they suffered, soft tissue and otherwise. Initially, there were some reports that the airline had offered everybody a $200 voucher for the trouble.
And
Yeah.
a flight refund, which is
Wah,
so
wah.
frontier. They're like, here's $60 for food at the airport. Oh my God.
Yes, here's a coup. But, this isn't going to go away anytime soon whenever there's one of these incidences. And, thank God that nobody was more seriously injured. We don't have, doors
It's
flying off
terrifying.
here, but it is
Yeah.
terrifying. And we won't know. The FAA obviously will do its investigation. And if it becomes something of interest and intrigue to us, certainly we'll report on that here at CityCast.
We'll update. Yeah, I have to say from being at one point a frequent flyer on Frontier, it does feel like you're flying on a rickety Lego plane. So,
Well, they all
Andrew,
use the same planes. I mean, more or less.
there's something
Just
different.
a different coat of paint.
And like the seats just feel like they're kind of snapped into place like a Lego set. Like it's not even compared to Spirit. There's it's rough, Figler. I don't know when the last time you, David Figler Esquire, was on a Frontier flight, but I'm on one right now.
But we should
Andrew,
make it very, very clear that you are a fan, nonetheless, because you use it a lot.
I am a fan of frugality.
Oh, wait, so Frontier is a budget line?
Oh, yes. It is
Oh,
a
okay.
budget.
I didn't even
It
know. I always
charges you-
associate that with like Spirit, the OG Lego plane.
They charge you for water, Andrew.
Oh, really?
It's a
Okay.
step down from Spirit, Andrew.
Oh my
What?
gosh, okay.
Yes, this is what I'm trying to emphasize. They will not give you free water. You have to buy it.
Dang.
Listen, it flies direct into Cleveland and to Newark. That is why I'm on Frontier so
Maybe
much.
people didn't pay for the non-fire landing.
That
Yeah,
is,
exactly.
it was an extra $45, and that
That's a
adds
premium.
up, Okay, all jokes aside, Andrew, as our FAA official correspondent,
Yes.
from your lengthy reporting on airline safety, is it time for airline safety standards to change? Because you did mention, David, the doors flying off of the Boeing jets as well. Was this just a fluke? Like, what is going on?
Yes, I really appreciate you tapping my expertise in this
Yeah.
deeply complex issue.
Everybody knows we're
yeah.
joking, I hope, but I'm just going to say
Yeah.
it out loud.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, disclaimer. I guess the common sense answer would be yes, safety standards probably do need to improve, and they should always be improving in the airline industry. So, the FAA is investigating the cause, and I guess we'll find out all the the source of this issue. But for me as a consumer, it just adds another kind of layer of stress to the experience, right? Because
Yeah.
now I always have to check the brands involved in any flight to see like how nervous I should be, right? So I'm now,
Yeah.
right now I'm like, oh, is it a Boeing flight? How worried should I be? Now I'm going to be like, is it a Frontier flight? How worried should I be? And the thing is about it is like, it's not that I have any agency in the matter. Like I could
Yeah.
say, oh, it's a Boeing plane, I'm going to switch my flight, right? It doesn't work that way. So in a weird way, it's this, ritual of increasingly paralyzing fear when you see, longtime airlines suffering failures, catastrophic and otherwise.
A ritual of increasingly paralyzing fear. That's life, baby.
That's
Welcome
a great
to the
exactly.
Friday News
novel.
Roundup.
That sounds like an Eggers novel, dude. You got
Yeah,
it.
it sounds very superlative for sure.
I mean, I do feel like very dangerous plane failures have been in the news a lot recently, and luckily there have not been any deaths in these recent incidents. But David, are you feeling more aware of your in-flight mortality now more than ever before?
Like most people, I don't know how planes even work. Like, it seems, I don't know how boats stay on water. They seem so heavy. I don't know how planes go in the air. They seem so heavy. But seriously, no. I mean, if I have to
Okay.
fly, I'm going to fly. But Andrew makes some really great points. And that is like, should we be looking at the age of the airplane because they are going to deteriorate with age? Or were they
The
built during a
model.
period of time when the company who created it was not fulfilling safety standards and getting cited by the FAA? I mean, there's so
Yeah.
deep a dive that you can do. But like probably many people, have a certain ritual on a plane to keep oneself calm. And what I do is I count to 60 slowly to myself, or 120, because that's about how long it typically takes for a plane to safely get to 10,000 feet. And if it takes longer than that, then I start to panic a little bit. But once I hear the ding ding, then I feel like, okay, because most bad things either happen on takeoff or on landing. And so that's like my only nervous period. And I don't really think about my mortality for the rest of the flight.
Andrew, what about your mortality? Are you thinking about it?
I just like the phrase "in-flight mortality" because if you think about it, as we're all passengers on spaceship Earth, aren't we all experiencing in-flight mortality?
God.
It's a companion piece to the movie. You have your in-flight movie or your in-flight mortality, whatever you choose.
Exactly. Yeah, I
So
appreciate the cosmic perspective it suggests.
Am I the only one that flies Frontier here? No, you.
Yeah, I've
Andrew, and
never
Dave.
flown Frontier.
I haven't had the pleasure.
Well, I guess I'm the only one that has to ask myself if I will continue flying Frontier. So I'm going to retreat into my meditation lounge and have a think on it, and I'll get back to you. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Sometimes when I'm not feeling well emotionally, I feel like I'm hiding behind a mask. If I'm taking my showbiz persona into my personal life and pretending everything is okay when it's really not, I know it's time to check in with a therapist. Because masks are for Halloween, not for my emotions. We all go through tough times, and in the past, I have found it really helpful to get an outside opinion to navigate my own emotions. And in my personal experience, every time I've begun therapy, I've also eventually come to a place where I realized I was doing okay, and it was time to stop. Therapy doesn't have to be a lifelong commitment, but that resource is always there if and when you need it. And with BetterHelp, it's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule, and it's entirely online. So take off the mask with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/citycast today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/citycast.
Hi, this is David Plotz of CityCast. Have you thought about a gift for yourself this year? One that has the power to help you grow and learn and become a better version of yourself? Give yourself the gift of language by getting Babbel. With quick 10-minute lessons handcrafted by language experts, Babbel gets you talking a new language in 3 weeks. Because talking is the key to really knowing a language. And that's how Babbel approaches it. It's designed for real conversation. So I have a trip to France planned with my girlfriend. Was it inspired by the Olympics? Yes, it was. And it's given me the chance to revive my old high school French. And it's so fun to catch back up with the vocabulary I'd forgotten, to remember all the food. For example, I'm in a lesson on ingredients, so I'm going to make crepes with butter and sugar. Avec sucre et de beurre salé, on va se régaler. We're going to have a feast. They learned this great new French expression too. J'en ai l'eau à la bouche. That means I have water in the mouth. That means it's mouth-watering. Love it. Love French. Anyway, Babbel gets you talking, and studies from Yale and Michigan State University and other leading universities prove that it works. So here is a special holiday deal for CityCast listeners. Right now, get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for CityCast listeners at babbel.com/citycast. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/citycast, spelled BABBEL.com/citycast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
So, Andrew, the Chippendales dancers in Vegas are unionizing.
Yeah,
Tell me more.
very exciting. Yes, it's absolutely true. The Chippendales dancers are unionizing.
Nope, not giving it to Andrew on that one.
Yeah, the Chippendales dancers, they perform at the Rio, and they announced on Tuesday that they will be unionizing with the Actors Equity Association.
Yeah.
The All Mail Review said in a press release that they're unionizing to ensure their wages and working conditions are held to the same world-class standards that they're famous for delivering on stage. So talk about flexing labor muscle.
Yeah.
I like that one. Good job.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sticking with it. Yeah. Don't retract that. But yeah, so the dancers claim that their wages and benefits are lagging behind those offered to other performers on the Las Vegas Strip. Right now, the Actors Equity Association said that the dancers have voted in a supermajority to join the union. They signed the authorization cards, which is kind of like an informal union vote. They
Right.
filed the paperwork with the National Labor Relations Board, and I guess it's just a question of certifying that and then getting them into the contract cycle. So yeah, very exciting, very exciting.
Andrew, it's interesting to me that they're joining the actors union, but then when I looked into it more, because I had heard that there were a couple strip clubs with women dancers in LA who were
Mhm.
unionized, and they also joined Actors Equity. So, like, is Actors Equity the place for them? Should they be like with other service industry unions, like culinary or like the blackjack dealers? What do you think?
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting question. And, in one way, it makes a certain sense that they're joining the Actors Equity Association since the Chippendales dancers are technically performance artists. But also in the world of labor organizing, there's a lot of like political stretchiness to union representation. So, for
Hmm.
example, the United Steelworkers Union includes education professionals and teachers.
And
United
taxi
Food
cab
and
drivers.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. A United Food and Commercial Workers Union includes healthcare workers. And so, in a way, I
Hmm.
suppose it would be cool if the dancers could join with the culinary to expand and fortify their formidable footprint in Nevada. But to me, in the big picture, as a fan of labor unions and an advocate for them, the important thing to me is that, it's less important that what group they're a part of, I suppose, in the big picture. And the more important thing is that they're joining with and creating a collective bargaining unit to protect their
Yeah.
rights, protect their wages, and protect their benefits.
I'm actually surprised that they didn't join the meat packers working union
Yeah.
because
Oh,
it was
There
right
we go.
there.
It was right there. Yeah, so I worked at a museum that eventually did unionize, but the first time they tried it was struck down because they wanted to unionize under retail workers, and it wasn't
mhm.
until there was a museum workers union established that then the museum like became unionized. So in some ways it can matter, but David, it feels like we're like a big union city now. It does feel like unions are coming back and everyone is unionizing. Like, is there a point where this goes too far?
I think generally speaking, most people are pro-union when it comes to worker protections, fair
Mm,
wages, that sort of thing, safety. And I think a lot of people in the community think that sometimes, the rules for firing workers who aren't good, if they happen to be in a union, sort of are counterproductive to productivity. So, I mean, there's arguments all over the place, et cetera, et cetera.
mm,
Let's not forget, while the Strip is definitely a union city, based on culinary's efforts, Nevada at
mm,
large is a right to work state, which is an
Mhm.
anti-union stance.
mm.
Do I want there to be a way for all workers to not be exploited, especially people on stage literally working their asses off as to literally
Nice.
working their asses off to entertain the folks who spend money in our community.
Yep.
I don't have any doubt that the Chippendale dancers deserve to have collective bargaining and reasonable contracts. And if it takes a union to do that, bully, bully. But I don't think that we've reached any sort of like saturation point for union representation. There's a
Yeah.
lot of ways to get to the good stuff. Unions are absolutely one of them.
Yeah, and I think that in Vegas, where I think we're a bit more union conscious because of the comparative might of the culinary union, which
Right.
in the broader context is kind of an outlier and kind of an unlikely success story in the context. 60,000 members strong, the largest union in the state of Nevada. Their union membership has tripled since 1990. And at the same time, more broadly in America, union membership has been declining. I think like 10% of workers in the United States are represented by a union. Apparently in the 80s, 1983, that was 20%. So I think that the culinary union is such a strong presence here that it may seem like everybody's unionizing, but actually the opposite is true.
Hmm. We've talked previously about we hope to see unionization of like off-strip culinary workers, which would be great. Who else do you think is on the path to unionizing here in Vegas?
I'll speak more broadly because I feel like any body of workers that are working for some entity that represents corporate capital can and should unionize. I feel like the phrase economic equality is thrown around a lot nowadays, and there's these conversations floating in the air about like how do we solve this extreme economic inequality that's the hallmark of hypercapitalism, or whatever hell world we're living in. And one sort of glib answer is like tax the rich, make billionaires pay their fair share. If you earn $999 million, you get a I won capitalism trophy and you're taxed at 100% beyond that. And that's cool and everything, but that's the kind of fantasy that relies on the promises of politicians. And so unions are important to me because it's the biggest practical tool that the working class has for seizing back economic power from the wealthy. So I feel like unions should be for everybody.
David, any thoughts? Who's going to unionize?
I know the drivers who drive RTC buses who
Yeah.
may not be RTC employees have been looking to unionize. And I think that anyone who's transporting people, whether it's taxis or rideshare or buses, I think that that's a legitimate area where exploitation runs high. Transport people or goods. Exploitation runs high.
Union.
People should be getting health insurance and not having to pay out of their pocket to do things that benefit the companies that make all the money off of them, et cetera. So, yeah, I think people in the transport industry, that seems to make sense in our community.
All right. So we usually save our cheeky questions for the final topic, but I want to be helpful here because let's say they have to strike, the Chippendales dancers, to get their union, or while they're trying to get a contract, let's say they have to go on strike. So we are three brilliant writers. I would love for us to be able to provide some slogans for their signs or maybe chants. Do you have any for me, David?
No justice, no piece of ass.
Oh, nice.
All right. No justice, a piece of ass. Great. Andrew, do you have one to enter?
There's no dancing around workers' rights. No?
It's so wholesome.
So wholesome.
Okay.
I feel bad about myself now. How about you, Sarah?
Benefit packages to benefit our packages.
Oh, you win.
How did I come in third place here?
I can't take credit for it. I threw this out to some of my funny friends. Thank you, Jeff Kurtz. Benefit packages to benefit our packages. That's gold.
Gold.
Chippendales, Actors Equity, you can have that. That's yours.
Isn't the point of traveling to get away from it all? To feel the best you've ever felt? Then maybe you should check out Aruba. You'll spend your time relaxing on cool, white, sandy beaches and floating in healing blue water. You'll meet locals brimming with gratitude for an island that redefines what a paradise can be. When your trip comes to an end, you won't need another vacation because you just had the vacation. That's the Aruba effect. Plan your trip at Aruba.com.
So Chris Martin's new video dropped this week, and it was filmed entirely in downtown Las Vegas. So this reporting comes from Vital Vegas, who introduced some snark, Scott, this is your mother, about something that I really, really loved. So there's a new song called All My Love. Chris Martin of Coldplay, he filmed this after performing in the iHeartRadio Festival. And it is a video that somehow makes me nostalgic for a place that I still currently live. It basically follows Chris Martin, who's dressed like David Figler in a wig, as he wanders down Fremont Street and Charleston, of all places. It was Charleston Boulevard, right?
He was on Vegas Boulevard. He was on Commerce at one point.
Okay.
Yeah.
They all look
in
a little
traffic,
the same. Yeah. I mean, and, just like past auto body shops, which I've lived in a lot of cities, and I embrace the ugly parts and feel nostalgic for them just as much as the beautiful parts. It starts at Sigma Derby in the D,
which is the little horsey race game that
little horsey race game that still takes quarters. I've whiled away many an hour there with friends. He gets balloons, actually from the cage, not at the D. I think it's at the Golden Nugget. And
Golden
it shows
Gate.
him. What's that? Golden Gate.
Golden
Oh,
Gate, yeah.
our most historic hotel.
Also owned by the D.
Also
People.
owned by the D. There we go. So he
Most
gets
historicist.
balloons from the Golden Gate next door, which is one of the oldest properties down there. He walks down Fremont Street passing out balloons to buskers, which is, I think, really sweet and hilarious.
Including the gorilla guy who is
the best.
Lately ubiquitous. Ubiquitous?
Doing
He's
a
always
little
there.
dance with his little balloon. It's really quite charming. And then the video ends
You
at
could have
Dino's.
picked a lot more controversial buskers down there. Let's just be real about that.
I mean, that's fair, man. You don't like the gorilla guy? He's out there making a buck.
He's not controversial. I'm talking about, like the dearly departed older guy who used to jump around in a diaper with a Cupid arrow.
Vegas, baby.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's like the character of Fremont. That's what I go there for.
Fair.
I want to see old men in diapers and a man in a gorilla suit, and why else am I there? The end. You get some of the beautiful neon and lights down there, and then he heads to Dino's, where he hangs out with his twin, David Figler. We have video of this.
I was there, though.
Just like him, David.
That is a persona that I have adopted to a degree, not as sad, and when I went in my performing days. So I did have a lot of people, including my current band members of Tippy Elvis, who were like, dude, we actually thought that was you before it was revealed it's Chris Martin.
David, when you posted that video on your Instagram, I was like, why is David dressed like that? You look like each other.
My wife Gwyneth Paltrow put me up to it. So
aren't they divorced?
I don't know. They're ethically uncoupled. I don't know what that means.
Okay, fine. Well, he was at Dino's, as was David Figler. There's video on our Instagram.
Correct.
And he does karaoke, and it's super
of that song. Yeah,
of that song. Which
I think the whole video was just taped on, from what I saw, because I saw it happening.
Yeah.
Just on a friggin' iPhone.
Yes,
like
it
he had
was
people covering him. As he was just moving through the crowd.
Which is, I think, great. It wasn't like intrusive. Yes, it was the whole thing was filmed on an iPhone.
So, what was the significance of his outfit? Did it mean something, or is it just?
Yeah, I think there was some sort of like tramp narrative, or some guy who was like
some kind
down on his luck, but maybe full of love in his heart.
I actually just sort of, I interpret it as like if he walked down the street as Chris Martin, like the video would have a totally different vibe.
Okay, I didn't know if I was missing out on some kind of broad cultural reference or something like that.
He was trying to establish like this enigmatic character, like he was a little unkempt. His shirt tail was out. He was in, what would be considered to be maybe a cheaper suit. He just looked a little sad. He was kind of like a silent character. He wasn't really talking per se.
Kind of like light
homeless. It just seemed like a disguise, because I would say maybe only 25% of people seem to recognize who he was. He was like so incognito that at one point security is talking to him, being like, who's this weird guy? I mean, I think it like felt very natural and was sort of set up that way to be a non-intrusive look into downtown Las Vegas.
Yeah.
David, so you saw the video. What did you think of it?
I thought it was sweet. I always like non-negative portrayals, and it was kind of neutral. I mean, there was some obvious shit that I'm always like, I roll hard.
Like what?
The Fremont Street buskers and all that bullshit. And, in the casino, the wedding chapel. I mean, it's all the cliches. I don't think he did anything particularly clever or good with it, just kind of tapped into all of them. And it's hard to write about Las Vegas proper without talking about the cliches. It's a topic I'll be talking about soon at the Las Vegas Book Fest with my compatriots, Krista Diamond and Veronica Clash. But here's the thing. It was okay. It was nice.
Andrew, what did you think?
Yeah, it was like very Coldplay. Coldplay is like it's like the happy birthday of music, right? It's like no one objects to the song Happy Birthday. Coldplay is just very, they will always be palatable, right? And so
oh my God, you two are so crotchety.
But I mean, I guess
they're not Radiohead, Sarah.
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
Just Coldplay.
But I will say, props to giving local Las Vegas spots some love, and
I love that Dino's got highlighted. The Dino stuff
that was cool.
Really my favorite, and absolutely deserved. And if Dino's is super packed for next year because of this, above and beyond their normal crowds,
I hope they leave the song in the karaoke system. Look, you guys are crotchety. I actually thought this was really sweet. I get that the song is sort of playing on my emotions, but like he's not at the Strip. Like it's not Vegas as super glamorous. It's Vegas as a little gritty and real. And these are spots that like I even in my short time here, my 3 years here, I've got like real and beautiful memories at, right? As I'm sure you two do as well. And then the fact that he also didn't just keep it to Fremont Street, and I love that it's old Vegas. He walked down Las Vegas frickin' Boulevard, and it's so ugly, but it's also so beautiful. Like it just seems like it's this love letter to a Vegas that we know, not a Vegas that we show.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. And it's nice to know that he's probably still coughing up nostalgic chunks of Dino's.
I mean, Dino's is a smoky spot.
Yeah.
Let's just be real.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yellow
went to.
Dino's lung butter chunks.
Okay, so here is my pitch to you. Like, what artist would you like to see make a heartfelt video in Las Vegas? And going off of you, David, cliche fighter, what is like what's the setting? What do you want to see them highlight in the heartfelt video of Las Vegas? So artist and heartfelt setting.
You start, Andrew, because I put myself on the line on this, so I got to give it a little more thought.
Oh, wow. Okay, Andrew, what you got?
I'm looking forward to the video that is to come, and it may or may not be a heartfelt video, shot in Las Vegas, but I'm very excited that the world's best grindcore band called Pig Destroyer is playing the dive bar November 8th. So I'm looking forward to the video
Well,
evidence of
bust
that.
out your iPhone, and there it is.
Yeah,
You've made a music
I'm
video.
going to make that video. I think it would be interesting if Fish, made a Vegas video. That would be kind of interesting. Maybe tied to the any future residency that they do.
But
Because
not
they're
at
kind
the
of
Sphere.
yeah, they're like strange and harmless, and I think what they think might kind of interesting. So, but Pig Destroyer.
I got one. And it is a challenge because we are Las Vegas, and it is very hard to not establish that really quickly using the obvious sites. That said, I would like to see a Green Day video, a throwback, little more on their punky side, less emo. And I would like to see them recreating, and this is dedicated to my good pal Andrew Crowley, old school Vegas desert shows.
Oh, there you go.
Schlepping out generators and
The
speakers
tubes.
and going to these spots that are in the midst of the desert, in sight of the great, skylines, etc. But really just the sort of DIY, making music where you are, making your home livable sort of aesthetic in a Green Day video as, basically an apology for calling Las Vegas a shithole, FYI.
Oh,
That
that's
would
nice.
be the most appropriate penance that they could do. And that's a great observation because, I think so. So quick sort of filler backstory, Sarah. Punk scene of the 80s and 90s in Vegas, because the all ages scene in Vegas was just kind of tamped down by the fact that there are bars everywhere and the rules don't allow it. It took largely on the edges of the desert at these ad hoc, dusty desert shows with generators and, amps
And that's
and
how
all that
EDM
kind of stuff.
also got started here in warehouses, warehouses in the desert, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
okay,
that's
so my
a callback.
First reaction to this pitch was Cher, and I guess just like at my house. I think she's really cool. I'd like to hang out.
Cher in
But-
Old Town Henderson. I love that.
I do. Yeah, we could go to Water Street. Definitely underfeatured, and I think as beautiful as the beautiful parts of downtown. But I feel like I want to update it a little bit because we are sounding really old this episode, you guys. So I'm thinking, go ahead, David, defend yourself. I saw you move into that mic.
I just realized Green Day makes me old.
Yeah.
I can't believe that. How'd that happen?
Welcome to 2024. I'm sorry that I had to drop that on you this morning, David.
You just dropped a dookie on me.
So I did. Great album though, kids. But I'm thinking like one of my few scenes that I loved from the Elvis movie was the recreation of the Hilton International showroom. They replicated period appropriate menus. So maybe I'd love to see like Harry Styles sort of in like the plaza still has its showroom, like video in the showroom, and it's like done as like a recreation of like the showroom shows of the 60s and 70s. I think that could look really, really cool.
Dang, it sounds like you're signing on as a producer. I love it.
I mean, Harry Styles loves an older woman, so get me in there. Let me have my shot.
There you go.
Gents, thanks so much for this really fun. We did get like very depressed like we usually do on Friday mornings. And I'm going to see you both at the Las Vegas Book Festival next Saturday. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. Look it up.
Always fun.
That's all for today here on CityCast Las Vegas. While Sonia Cho Swanson is on leave, our interim executive producer is Layla Mohammed. Our producers this week were Myron Kaplan and Francisco Kilgore. Our newsletter editor is Rob Katchelreese, and our hosts are David Figler and me, Sarah Lohman. Music is by OG Moose, Epidemic Sound, and all the kimonos. We record this show on the traditional homelands of the Nawuvi, the Southern Paiute people. If you enjoyed this show, please send it to a friend, rate our show, leave us a review, and then subscribe to our morning newsletter. You know what? You don't have to do all four. Just pick one. That'd be great. We'll be back Tuesday morning with more news from around the city. Enjoy the holiday and take care.
They're chipping away at our benefits.
No, see, these are good. No. I did have some other ones. We're in for the schlong haul.
Oh, you are a pun cushion today.
I crowdsourced.